Hello, Tiger Cubs, and welcome to an amazing episode of Tiger Cub News.
This week we sadly don't have ASB announcements again, which means we're starting with
Sports!
Hey Tiger Cubs, welcome back to the sports episode for this week.
Boys volleyball and track are starting up, with the boys volleyball team winning their first game against Santa Fe 2-1.
Track has their first meet on March 23rd, so good luck to all the runners that are participating.
With football finals are on Tuesday, March 21st, with the players in Paris playing against the winner of the semifinals, which was Leaf. Here are some highlights from that semifinals game.
Also, congrats to the girls soccer team for the championship win. We will have the highlights of the game next week.
That's all for this week, Tiger Cubs. See ya!
Speaking of competitions, SPHS won the Math Field Day.
SPHS.
SPMS.
Congratulations.
Next up, we have a segment on some fun arts and crafts.
Hey Tiger Cubs, I'm Abigail, and today we'll be talking about the vernal equinox or the spring equinox. Today, March 20th, is the official start of spring. However, a common misconception is that day and night are equal today, but they are not. At 2:24 p.m., the sun will sit directly above the equator. This marks the start of spring, which will continue until June 21st. Additionally, it is the beginning of longer days and shorter nights. In nature, trees will begin to bud and flowers begin to bloom. But on the other hand, the southern hemisphere will start to have longer nights and shorter days, preparing for winter due to them being on the other side of the equator. In celebration of the beginning of spring, we've decided to do what we do best, mess up origami crafts.
To start, I used 12 pieces of paper, 3 of each in 3 dimensions as shown on the screen. I followed the tutorial by Origami Princess on YouTube, so if you want a more in-depth explanation, find the video displayed on the screen. Here, I am making the petals, using the same technique for each dimension. After I did all that, I stacked all of the folded paper and tied it together using a rubber band. This will help the flower come together. Once it's tied, I expanded the sections and bent the individual pieces inside out as shown on the screen. You will keep on doing this until all the petals are inside out. This is the result of the finished flower, and this is very fun to make. Hope you enjoyed the spring season as much as I enjoyed making this flower.
Speaking of spring, isn't today the first day of spring?
You're right.
No more chilly winter.
Well, next up, we have the food segment.
Num num num.
Alright guys, so I had the lamb wrap. Overall it was really good, but nothing too crazy. So I really enjoyed the sauce. The lamb was cooked super well. The texture was great overall. It had lots of herbs, had a very garlicky flavor, super savory. And overall, I'd give it like a 7 out of 10.
Alright, so I had the beef shawarma and the fried chicken bread. It was okay, and the bread had a nice, good crust on it, but it wasn't that outstanding. I'd give it like a 5.56.
Alright, so I had the beef filet shawarma wrap. The beef was a little dry and there were too many onions for my liking. I didn't like it that much. I give it a 5 out of 10.
So I had the lamb shawarma, and honestly, I didn't really like it. It was just not a great dish. Like the wrap, it was kind of soggy and cold, and I'd rate it a 5 out of 10.
Now we have underqualified etymology.
Hey, you got it.
Yay!
Hey guys, welcome back to Underqualified Etymology, where I defy the formula I masterfully established in one episode by breaking it immediately after. So, just in case you happened to be asleep last time I was here, I see you, by the way, in the back. This week, I will not be talking about a word or phrase. So, let me just show you today's subject. This guy. The semicolon. Weird little symbol. Looks like a J sometimes, sits next to L on the average QWERTY keyboard, but what does it do? Put in the most boring way possible, the semicolon is a punctuation symbol. It is used to link two independent clauses closely related in thought, creating a single sentence. It does not signify a full stop, like a period, or a full continuation, like a comma, instead sitting somewhere in between. For example, you could write, I like putting jam on my bagels, semicolon, blueberry jam is the best. Both halves are complete thoughts, but they are similar enough to need a different symbol to signify that. Though usually interchangeable with the period, the semicolon could help convey more information to the reader than the period, by making a connection between the thoughts for the reader. The semicolon itself was first recorded around 1494 in Venice, Italy, and has remained essentially the same since. So, that's a semicolon from somebody without an English degree. Take my words with a grain of salt, and maybe even do a bit of research on your own, and you've learned something new today. Anyways, next segment.
Next up, we have funny animals.
They are always pretty silly.
Guess what?
What?
Mythology.
Hello, and welcome to Mythology. In today's episode, we will be talking about the story of Cerberus. First of all, he was the second child of Typhon and Echidna. He has been portrayed in many different ways, but the most common theme is that he has 3 heads and a snake tail. Cerberus is known as the guardian of the gates of the underworld, to make sure no one gets in or out who is not supposed to. Cerberus has only been gotten past 3 times, once by Hercules for his 12 labors, the second by Orpheus, and the third is Aeneas. Hercules was able to get him out with Hades' permission, under the condition that you would have to get him up without any weapons, which he did. Orpheus' story started right after his love, Eurydice, died from falling into a snake pit. Orpheus went down into the underworld and charmed Cerberus with his music, went to Hades, and was able to convince him to let him take Eurydice back, but he was not able to look at her the whole time. They were almost back when she tripped, and Orpheus turned to make sure she was okay, and she got sent back because he loved her. The final time was when Aeneas, with help from the Sibyl of Cumae, gave Cerberus a honey cake with sleeping herbs in it to make him fall asleep so he could sneak past.
Hey Roman, did you know that there's a fundraiser at Roman's bookstore?
I have a bookstore?
No, silly, but you should go buy something to support our local bookstore.
That makes sense.
Next up, we have trivia.
With random ranks this week.
As a form of entertainment, would you rather read a book or watch TV?
Watch TV. Oh, watch TV for sure.
So as a form of entertainment, what would you rather do? Play video games or spend time on your phone?
Spend time on my phone. Spend time on my phone.
So what would you rather do as a form of entertainment? Watch TV or spend time on your phone?
Spend time on my phone.
I'd watch TV.
I like to watch time on my phone. I'm gonna spend time on my phone.
What's up, Tiger Cubs? Welcome back to another episode of Music A through Z. Today we're going through the letters P, Q, and R. Starting off with Prince. Prince Rogers Nelson, more commonly known mononymously as Prince, was an American singer-songwriter, musician, and record producer. The recipient of numerous awards and nominations, he is widely regarded as one of the greatest musicians of his generation. He was known for his flamboyant, androgynous persona, his wide-range vocals, and which included a far-ranging falsetto and high-pitched screams, and his skill as a multi-instrumentalist, often preferring to play all or most of his instruments on his recordings. Prince produced his albums himself, pioneering the Minneapolis sound. His music also incorporated a wide variety of styles, including funk, R&B, rock, new wave, soul, synth pop, pop, jazz, and hip-hop. Our second band is Pearl Jam. Pearl Jam is an American rock band formed in Seattle, Washington in 1990. The band's lineup consists of founding members Jeff Ament, who's on the bass, Stone Gossard, who plays the rhythm guitar, Mike McCready, who plays the lead guitar, and Eddie Vedder, who plays the lead vocals and the guitar, as well as Matt Cameron, who plays the drums, who joined in 1998. Keyboardist Boom Gaspar has also been a touring session member with the band since 2002. Drummers Jack Irons, Dave Crewson, Matt Chamberlain, and Dave Alberzies are former members of the band. Pearl Jam outsold many of their contemporaries from the early 1990s and is considered one of the most influential bands of the decade, being dubbed as the most popular American rock and roll band of the 90s. Moving on to the Q bands, we have Queen. Queen are a British rock band formed in London in 1970 by Freddie Mercury, lead vocals and piano, Sir Brian May, who played guitar and vocals, and Roger Taylor, who played the drums and vocals, later joined by John Deacon, who played the bass. Their earliest works were influenced by progressive rock, hard rock, and heavy metal, but the band gradually ventured into more conventional and radio-friendly works by incorporating further styles, such as arena rock and pop rock. Next up, we have Quincy Delight Jones, born March 4, 1933. He's an American record producer, musician, songwriter, composer, arranger, and film and television producer. His career spans 70 years, with a record of 80 Grammys award nominations, 28 Grammys, and a Grammy Legend Award in 1992. For our final bands, we have the Red Hot Chili Peppers. The Red Hot Chili Peppers are an American rock band formed in Los Angeles in 1982, comprising vocalist Anthony Kiedis, bassist Flea, drummer Chad Smith, and guitarist John Frusciante. Their music incorporates elements of alternative rock, funk, punk rock, hard rock, hip-hop, and psychedelic rock. Their eclectic range has influenced genres such as funk, metal, rap rock, and nu metal. With over 120 million records sold worldwide, Red Hot Chili Peppers is one of the best-selling bands of all time. They hold the records for the most number one singles, 15, most cumulative weeks as number one, 91, most top 10 songs, 28, on the Billboard Alternative Songs chart. They've won 6 Grammy Awards and were inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 2012. In 2022, received a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. And for the final band of this episode, we have Radiohead. Radiohead are an English rock band formed in Aberdeen, Oxfordshire in 1985. The band consists of Tom York, who played the vocals, guitar, piano, and the keyboards, brothers Johnny Greenwood, who played the lead guitar, keyboards, and other instruments, and Colin Greenwood, who played the bass. Ed O'Brien, who played guitar and backing vocals, Philip Selway, who played drums and percussion, and they have worked with the producer Nigel Godrich and the cover artist Stanley Donwood since 1994. Radiohead's experimental approach is credited with advancing the sound of alternative rock. Thank you, Tiger Cubs. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. For the next episode, we will be going over some of the female artists who changed music in honor of Women's History Month. Thank you.
That's all for the segments this week.
That felt quick.
Yeah, but anyways, make sure to tune in next time and
Sayonara, Tiger Cubs.